Welcome back. So we are going to look at the first concept of our lesson, which is the purpose and the function of the digestive system. A system is a set of parts that work together to perform a certain task. So that is what a system is in simple terms. So now the body consists of many integrated systems that are made up of different organs that must work together for the body to function as a whole. So that is what our bodies are made up. Many different systems working together so that we can function as normal human beings. So when you are looking at this picture alongside, you can see that this is the human body and its internal organs. So these organs form systems when they work together. For example, we have the heart, which forms the circulatory system. We have the lungs, which forms the respiratory system. We have the intestines, which is what we are going to discuss today, which forms part of the digestive system. So all of these systems, when they come together, they make up an organism which is able to function as normal. So we are going to look at the main purpose then of the digestive system. So firstly, the digestive system is responsible for breaking down the food that we eat into small dissolvable particles or nutrients that are absorbed into the bloodstream. So that is the function of the digestive system, to break the food that we eat down to the smallest particles or nutrients so that they can be absorbed into the bloodstream. The bloodstream is then responsible for transporting the nutrients to the cells to be used during metabolic processes. So that is what happens during the digestion process. The digestive system is made up of the alimentary canal, which starts from the mouth up until the anus of the human body. So when you are looking at this picture, we can see that this is the human digestive system of a male and a female. It is pretty much almost the same. So it starts from the mouth. Both of them have a mouth, and then it moves down the esophagus, and then we have our stomach over here. Then we have our liver. We then have our large intestines and our small intestines. Then we have our rectum and our anus over here. So that is the human digestive system. So now we are going to move on to the second concept for this lesson, which is the main processes that take place during digestion. There are four main processes that happen in the alimentary canal. So the first one that we come across is ingestion. When we are speaking about ingestion, it takes place in the mouth. It occurs when food is taken into the body by eating or drinking through the mouth. That is the process of ingestion. Taking a food, putting it into your mouth. That is where the process of ingestion ends. And then, as you can see, this lady is about to eat her salad. So the moment the salad gets to the mouth, then the process of ingestion has taken place. Our second process then is digestion. So when we are speaking about digestion, we are speaking about the breaking down of the food particles into smaller particles or nutrients that can be absorbed into the bloodstreams. So now, what we are saying here is that we have two types of digestion processes. The first one is mechanical digestion. So this is the physical breakdown of food pieces. For example, the biting and the chewing. That is mechanical digestion. And then the second one is the chemical digestion. So the chemical digestion speaks about the biochemical breakdown by enzymes. So when the food that you are chewing is mixed with saliva and the enzymes that are found in the saliva breaking down the food into further small particles, then that is the chemical digestion taking place. So that is the second process that happens during the digestion system. As you can see here, the breaking down happens on the mouth when you are chewing. And also it happens in the stomach, because in the stomach, again, we find enzymes and we also find hydrochloric acid, which is also breaking the food down. So that is happening here and also here. Ingestion and digestion. So we are going to move on to the third process. The third process is absorption. So when we are speaking about absorption, this is when dissolvable digested particles or the nutrients are now moving into the digestive tract from the blood, from there into the blood streams to be moved or transported to the cells. So that is when the food or the nutrients are being absorbed into the digestive tract and taken to the cells in your body. So that process is referred to as absorption. And then the last one is egestion. When we are speaking about the process of egestion, this is removing undigested or unwanted food particles in the digestive tract in a form of feces, and this is also known as defecation. So the process of absorption has taken place in the intestines. So that is the four main processes that happen during the process of digestion. So here is a picture that explains exactly what we have spoken about. Your food is taken into the mouth, and that is where we experience ingestion. That is where we experience mechanical digestion and a bit of chemical digestion. The food then moves further down and gets into the stomach, where it is further broken down, and then into the intestines, where absorption takes place. And then the last part is when the food is passed out during the process of egestion through the rectum and the anus. So this is just explaining the process that we have just learnt about. Now we are going to move on to the third part of this lesson, which is the main components that make up a digestive system. So the components that make up a digestive system starts with the mouth and the esophagus. So in the mouth and the esophagus, the food is chewed and mixed with saliva. So we've already spoken about this. This is the beginning of mechanical and chemical digestion. It then travels down the esophagus when you swallow the food. The muscles of the esophagus contract and relax, pushing the food down to the stomach, and this process is called peristalsis. So this is the mouth. It starts here when you put in the food inside the mouth. It goes down the esophagus through the process of peristalsis when the esophagus contracts and relaxes to push the food down to the stomach. Now let us find out what happens when the food reaches the stomach. When it gets to the stomach, which is a muscular sac-like organ, it has the digestive juices containing enzymes and hydrochloric acid for chemical breakdown of the food. This is now chemical digestion. So when it gets to the stomach, the enzymes and the hydrochloric acid is going to break down this food into even smaller particles. The partially digested food then forms a thick liquid which is called the chyme. So that is what is formed in the stomach. So after the food has been broken down, it starts looking like a very thick liquid, and that liquid is referred to as chyme. Now what happens to this chyme? We then move on to the small intestines. So this is our small intestines, if you can look at this diagram. Because so far we spoke about the mouth, we spoke about the esophagus, we spoke about the stomach. And now we are here. What happens when the food gets to the small intestines? So digestive juices secreted by the glands that are found in the walls of the small intestines will then digest most of the chyme into dissolvable particles or nutrients for absorption into the cell. The partially digested food then forms a thick liquid which is called the chyme. So we will find out after the ad break what happens to the chyme.